Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Me, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. After the time skip, Zoro appeared with a scar over his right eye, and it generated many questions about just how he had acquired it and whether it has any use other than just looking cool. And the scar even gave rise to possibilities that there is something very special about his eye. So in today's video, we're going to talk about how Zoro managed to acquire that scar over his eye, and what Oda-sensei's justification was for giving Zoro this mark on his face after his training with Mihawk during the time skip. But before we dive into the video, if you're new to the channel or even if you've watched a bunch of our videos, we'd be absolutely honored if you'd leave us a like and even subscribe and maybe leave us a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really helps us out, especially with that old YouTube algorithm, and it keeps motivating us to make more content. And if you'd like to help out the channel in a bigger way, consider sharing this video or another one of your favorites with a friend. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So my friends, Zoro is one of the more skilled characters in the series and is a standout as one of the most powerful swordsmen in the world of One Piece. Through his dexterity and expertise with a blade, it places him at a very high level, second only to legendary swordsmen such as Mihawk and Shanks, as well as some other extremely famous pirates that populate the One Piece universe. To attain the level of these exceptional swordsmen, Zoro has undergone intense training and dedicated himself tirelessly to improving his skills. And his quest for excellence led him to Mihawk, the master of the sword himself, to whom he humbly asked for training, aiming to surpass him in the future. During this rigorous period of learning, Zoro not only refined his sword mastery, but also acquired impressive new techniques. And these newly acquired skills allowed him, in the present, to deliver a formidable strike that was capable of cutting even Kaido, who is of course one of the most resilient, feared, and durable pirates in the world of One Piece. In addition to his improvement with the sword, this training also marked Zoro permanently with a visual transformation for him, a scar over his right eye, adding an even more impressive aura to his countenance. However, it's extremely important to note that this scar is not a weakness. It's a mark of his determination and tenacity because despite hindering his vision, Zoro overcame this limitation with incredible ability of observation haki, an ability that allows him to sense the environment around him in a much more acute way than his vision ever could. Now, this ability of Zoro's is not unique. Of course, Admiral Fujitora, another master of the sword, also relies on his observation haki to compensate for the fact that he's blind, still moving with grace and precision based on his senses as well as his haki abilities. So again, Zoro only having one eye is not a disadvantage, but rather a testament to his strength and determination, because not only was he able to overcome the visual loss, but he also turned this mark into an element of his character, further increasing the fear that he places in his opponents. During his journey, many of us have been curious about the reasons that led Zoro to ask his greatest rival, Mihawk, for training, because throughout his adventures, we've witnessed Zoro constantly challenging his own limits, switching swords and developing new techniques to face increasingly more powerful opponents. This incessant quest for improvement has its roots in a dream that he made with Kuina, and that was to become the greatest swordsman in the world, a title that is currently held by Dracula Mihawk, also known as Hawkeye's Mihawk. In the world of One Piece, Mihawk is a living legend whose skill with a sword is so exceptional that both the world government and the Navy recognize his fearsome mastery. And in the past, he was even feared as a marine hunter, and this reputation has only been reinforced since he founded the Cross Guild, which has transformed him back into an official marine hunter. From the beginning of his journey, Zoro had the clear objective of defeating Mihawk and winning the title, and his first counter with Mihawk on Baratie provided a unique opportunity, though Zoro was still unaware of the gulf of skill that separated the two of these swordsmen. And with just a small blade, Mihawk broke two of Zoro's swords and pierced his chest, leaving him lying on the ground. And yet, in that brief duel, Mihawk realized the young swordsman's exceptional potential, so Mihawk chose to spare his life, marking him with a scar as a souvenir of this confrontation. So Zoro, fallen and crying, made a solemn promise to his captain that he would never be defeated again, and he would strive to become the greatest swordsman in the world. After Baratie, Zoro and the rest of the crew continued their journey for a little while until they reached Sabati Archipelago, and in those events, he was sent along with his compatriots to different locations around the world by Bartholomew Kuma. The place that Kuma sent Zoro took him to Kuragana Island, Mihawk's home, and on this mysterious island, Zoro met up with Perona and explored the dark and mysterious territory. Now, meeting Mihawk once again was not Zoro's choice, but this time he didn't intend to challenge him. Instead, he chose to absorb every bit of teaching, every observation, and to use it as fuel for his relentless determination to surpass his own limits. months, on his way to becoming the greatest swordsman in the world. Because who better to train him than the current greatest swordsman? During this period of intense training, Zoro was fully aware of the abysmal disparity in power that separated him from Mihawk, and he recognized that attempting to confront the world's greatest swordsman again without significantly honing his skills would result in an inevitable and crushing defeat. Furthermore, Zoro had been deeply shaken by not being able to help his crew defeat figures as formidable as Admiral Kizaru or even Kuma himself, who had sent him to this island through his devil fruit power. So Zoro swallowed his pride and asked Mihawk to train him. The greatest swordsman in the world thus accepted Zoro's request, but did not receive the young man with false expectations. He made it very clear from the start that the training would be incredibly challenging. However, Zoro longed for it, and he wished to become stronger no matter the cost. Over the next 2 years, Zoro subjected himself to a brutal training regimen under Mihawk's stern guidance, and he went through many different hardships, learning to hone his sword techniques in combat, as well as mastering the essential foundations of Haki. During this period of time, Zoro was introduced to the complex worlds of observation Haki as well as armament Haki, and these techniques not only expanded his capabilities as a swordsman, but also enabled him to face Logia users, including challenges as imposing as Kizaru. This training that Mihawk imposed on Zoro was incredibly arduous, and the Master Swordsman pushed Zoro to his limits again and again and again, forcing him to become tougher, faster, stronger, and there were times where Zoro was on the brink of death, completely exhausted. However, giving up was not an option for this young swordsman. Early on in his training, Zoro faced a series of smaller apes skilled with swords, each posing a unique challenge, and these confrontations required a supernatural effort from him to overcome his opponents. As Zoro progressed even further in his training, Mihawk introduced larger apes into the training sessions, and these ones were incredibly experienced in the art of the sword, possessing a smaller replica of the famous Yoru, Mihawk's own sword. And despite its lack of strength and sharpness compared to the original, this sword still proved to be a formidable opponent for Zoro. Once Zoro had honed his sword skills and mastered the use of Haki, he then began training directly with Mihawk, and in the fights that followed, Mihawk was skilled enough to wound Zoro multiple times, inflicting minor cuts and bruises over the 2 years. However, during a particularly intense moment of his training, Mihawk, whether on purpose or by accident, cut out one of Zoro's eyes. But that didn't stop our favorite mossy-haired swordsman. Zoro, now scarred and deprived of vision in one eye, continued his training with unwavering determination. Every wound and every mark became a testament to his tireless dedication to becoming the greatest swordsman in the world, even if it meant sacrificing a part of his own vision. In fact, the lack of vision in one of his eyes ended up becoming an essential thing in Zoro's evolution as a swordsman, because under Mihawk's guidance, he learned to adapt to this new condition, transforming a supposed limitation into a strategic advantage. With the loss of vision in one eye, Zoro was forced to refine his remaining senses, but most especially his observation Haki, which broadened his perception of his surroundings. And not only did he become more attentive to his opponent's movements, but he also developed a remarkable ability to anticipate attacks and reactions. So Zoro's eye scar is far from a weakness, and it's rather become a symbol of his determination and resilience. He learned to trust his instincts and enhanced abilities to overcome any disadvantage that the loss of vision might have caused. And now, this sharp and perceptive eye has become a vital tool in his arsenal, allowing him to discern crucial details during battle. And again, the scar is not just a physical one, it's a visible representation of all of the hard training he endured over his 2 years training with Mihawk. And it's become a constant reminder of his journey, serving as a testament to the price he has been willing to pay to become even stronger. There's also been an added benefit to this scar as well, because it's had a significant impact on Zoro's presence. It gave his face a more intimidating and intriguing aura, and Zoro's image, now marked with this scar, evokes respect and at the same time, a certain amount of fear. Thus, this scar not only created a strong reminder of Zoro's efforts as a swordsman, but also deepened his complexity as a character, and has become a part of his identity, a visual symbol of his unwavering commitment to achieving greatness and becoming the greatest swordsman in the world. But with all that said, my friends, we'd now love to know what you think about it. First off, do you think that Zoro's change in appearance is merely what Oda-sensei has claimed? It's just a way to make him look cooler? Or do you think there's still a secret? Because if there's one thing we know about Oda, he is a master of quick changes and surprises and leaving things in plain sight for so long that we often forget that there might have been a reason. So could there be that Ashura or some kind of demon hidden behind the eye? Or is it simply just a scar and a reminder of all his training? Also, Also, what do you think's gonna happen when Zoro and Mihawk finally cross swords? And who do you think's gonna come out on top? Now, of course, here at the channel, we're rooting for our mossy-headed boy Zoro, but there's always a chance at a twist or some other kind of resolution that we might not have expected. So let us know what you think in the comments below. As we wrap up our video for the day, we want to first thank you all so much for watching, especially those of you who've made it here to the very end. Make sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you made it this far, give us a like and hit that subscribe button before you head out to take on the rest of your day. I look forward to seeing you all in our next video. Let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.